Clint Eastwood is a Hollywood legend, an actor, director, and filmmaker who has defined entire genres with his unforgettable performances and masterful storytelling. From gritty westerns to hard-hitting dramas, his films have stood the test of time and continue to captivate audiences worldwide. In this video, we'll be showing you the top 10 Clint Eastwood movies that you should definitely watch. Which one is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. Number 1. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966. Directed by Sergio Leone, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966, is a landmark in cinematic history and arguably the greatest spaghetti western ever made. Starring Clint Eastwood, Lee Van Cleef, and Eli Wallach, the film is renowned for its gritty realism, stark cynicism, and breathtaking depiction of the ruthless American frontier. Leone's signature style, characterized by extreme close-ups, long silences, and operatic violence, elevates the film into a masterpiece that transcends its genre. At its core, the film tells the story of three men, each driven by his own brand of ambition, who find themselves locked in a high-stakes battle for $200,000 in buried Confederate gold. Blondie Eastwood, also known as the Good, is a skilled but morally ambiguous gunslinger who operates with a quiet, calculating demeanor. Angel Eyes Van Cleef, the Bad, is a cold-blooded bounty hunter with no loyalty except to money. Meanwhile, Tuco Wallach, the Ugly, is a fast-talking, opportunistic outlaw whose greed is matched only by his knack for survival. Their paths intertwine through a web of betrayals, uneasy alliances, and violent showdowns, set against the backdrop of the Civil War. As the trio manipulates and double-crosses one another, their pursuit of the gold becomes more than just a race for fortune. It becomes a brutal test of wit, endurance, and sheer will to survive. Each man represents a different facet of the lawless frontier. The hardened yet principled gunslinger, the merciless killer, and the desperate survivor willing to do anything for a chance at wealth. Ennio Morricone's legendary score adds an unforgettable dimension to the film, with the now iconic theme song becoming synonymous with the Western genre itself. The final showdown at the cemetery, a masterclass in tension and visual storytelling, cements The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly as one of the most influential films of all time. Leone's direction turns a simple story into an epic meditation on greed, violence, and the moral ambiguity of survival in a world where alliances are fleeting, and the only law is the gun. Number 2, For a Few Dollars More, 1965, directed by Sergio Leone. For a Few Dollars More, 1965, is a defining entry in the spaghetti western genre, starring Clint Eastwood, Lee Van Cleef, and Gian Maria Volonté. Following the success of A Fistful of Dollars, Leone expands his vision of the Wild West with a richer story, more complex characters, and an unforgettable score by Ennio Morricone. The film centers on two rival bounty hunters, Monco Eastwood and Colonel Douglas Mortimer Van Cleef, who are both tracking the same ruthless outlaw, El Indio Volonté. Initially competing for the bounty, the two men soon realize that their best chance of success is to join forces. As they infiltrate El Indio's gang, their uneasy alliance is tested by their contrasting methods, Monco's quiet lone wolf approach versus Mortimer's disciplined strategic precision. But for Mortimer, the hunt is about more than just money. It's deeply personal. As tensions rise and betrayals unfold, For a Few Dollars More weaves a gripping tale of revenge, justice, and survival. Leone's masterful use of close-ups, long silences, and intense duels keeps the suspense high, while Morricone's haunting score enhances every confrontation. The film not only deepens the themes introduced in its predecessor, but also paves the way for the epic finale of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Number 3, Unforgiven, 1992. Produced, directed by, and starring Clint Eastwood, Unforgiven, 1992, is a powerful revisionist Western that deconstructs the myths of the genre, featuring an exceptional cast including Gene Hackman, Morgan Freeman, and Richard Harris. The film moves beyond the traditional gunslinger narrative, offering a darker, more introspective look at violence, justice, and redemption. The story follows William "Money" Eastwood, a once notorious outlaw and killer who has long since left behind his violent past. Now a struggling widower raising his children on a small farm, Money is pulled back into the world he tried to escape when a young, ambitious gunslinger known as the Schofield Kid offers him a bounty hunting job. Alongside his old friend Ned Logan, Freeman, Money sets out on what is meant to be one final job, tracking down and killing 2 cowboys who brutally disfigured a woman. However, as Money is drawn deeper into the mission, the film dismantles the romanticized image of the Western hero. Age has left him slower, weaker, and haunted by the sins of his past. Meanwhile, Sheriff Little Bill Daggett, Hackman, a brutal lawman who enforces his own brand of justice, serves as a stark reminder that even those in power can be as ruthless as the outlaws they hunt. Unforgiven replaces the glory of classic Westerns with a sobering meditation on the consequences of violence. Leone's sweeping duels and clear-cut morality are replaced with uncertainty, regret, and moral ambiguity. Eastwood's performance is raw and haunting, portraying a man who knows that every act of killing comes at a cost. In the end, the film leaves us questioning whether justice is ever truly served or if vengeance only perpetuates the cycle of bloodshed. Number 4, Gran Torino, 2008, directed by Clint Eastwood. Gran Torino, 2008, is a deeply personal drama that blends themes of redemption, prejudice, and the scars of war. Starring Eastwood alongside B. Vang, Annie Her, and Scott Eastwood, the film offers an intimate yet powerful exploration of racial tension, generational conflict, and the possibility of change, even in the most hardened hearts. At the center of the story is Walt Kowalski Eastwood, a grizzled Korean War veteran and retired auto worker who has outlived both his wife and the America he once knew. Bitter, lonely, and clinging to outdated prejudices, he watches with resentment as his once all-white neighborhood becomes home to Asian, Black, and Hispanic families. He directs much of his hostility toward his Hmong neighbors, particularly a shy teenager named Thao, Vang. However, when Thao is pressured by a gang to steal Walt's prized 1972 Gran Torino as part of an initiation, their lives become unexpectedly intertwined. Despite his initial contempt, Walt finds himself stepping in to protect Thao and his family, gradually forming an unlikely bond with them. Through their growing connection, he begins to confront his own deep-seated regrets and the weight of his past actions in war. The film presents a raw, unfiltered look at racism and redemption, showing that change is possible, even for someone set in his ways. With Eastwood delivering one of his most emotionally complex performances, Gran Torino is more than just a story about an aging war veteran. It is a poignant meditation on forgiveness, cultural understanding, and the power of human connection. Number 5, $1 Million Baby, 2004, directed by Clint Eastwood. $1 Million Baby, 2004, is a deeply moving sports drama that transcends the typical underdog boxing story, delivering a raw exploration of ambition, loss, and redemption. Starring Eastwood, Hilary Swank, and Morgan Freeman, The film is both a powerful character study and a heartbreaking meditation on human resilience. The story follows Frankie Dunn, Eastwood, a seasoned boxing trainer with decades of experience but little personal fulfillment. Haunted by past regrets and estranged from his daughter, he spends his days running a small gym with his old friend and former fighter, Eddie Scrap Iron Dupree. Freeman. His world takes an unexpected turn when Maggie Fitzgerald, Swank, a determined waitress from a poor background, steps into his gym, desperate to be trained as a boxer. Initially reluctant, believing that boxing is no place for a woman, Frankie eventually agrees, and as Maggie proves her skill and unwavering dedication, the two form a bond that goes beyond trainer and fighter. As Maggie rises through the ranks, achieving what once seemed impossible, the film shifts from a triumphant sports narrative to a devastating exploration of fate and the harsh realities of life. Frankie's journey becomes not just about coaching a champion, but about confronting his own fears, seeking redemption, and making an unimaginable choice when Maggie's life takes a tragic turn. With unforgettable performances, Eastwood's masterful direction, and a deeply emotional storyline, Million Dollar Baby is not just a film about boxing. It is a profound reflection on sacrifice, love, and the painful consequences of the choices we make. Number 6. A Fistful of Dollars, 1964. Directed by Sergio Leone, A Fistful of Dollars, 1964, is the film that redefined the Western genre, marking the beginning of the legendary Dollars trilogy and cementing Clint Eastwood's status as an enduring cinematic icon. With heavy influences from Akira Kurosawa's Yojimbo, the film introduced audiences to the quintessential gunslinger. Stoic, nameless, and deadly accurate, Eastwood stars as the man with no name, a lone drifter who arrives in the desolate border town of San Miguel, where two rival factions, the Rojos and the Baxters, are locked in a violent struggle for dominance. Rather than taking sides, he cleverly plays both against each other, manipulating the situation for his own gain. In a world where loyalty is fleeting and survival depends on wit as much as skill with a gun, the stranger navigates the blood-soaked conflict with a mix of cunning, deception, and deadly precision. With Leone's revolutionary use of extreme close-ups, long silences, and Ennio Morricone's unforgettable score, A Fistful of Dollars transformed the Western into something grittier, more stylish, and more morally ambiguous than ever before. It introduced a new kind of anti-hero, one who operates in shades of gray rather than clear-cut notions of good and evil. More than just a thrilling shootout-filled adventure, the film laid the foundation for the modern Western, setting the stage for the genre's evolution in the decades to come. The man with no name is not here to be a hero. He's here to survive, outsmart, and, if there's gold to be made, come out on top. Number 7. The Outlaw, Josey, Wales, 1976, directed by Clint Eastwood. The Outlaw, Josey, Wales, 1976, is a defining revisionist Western that strips away the romanticized notions of the Old West, replacing them with a brutal, emotionally charged tale of vengeance and redemption. Starring Eastwood alongside Chief Dan George and Sandra Locke, the film remains one of his most powerful early directorial efforts, showcasing a raw and unfiltered look at the consequences of violence and war. The story follows Josey Wales, Eastwood, a Missouri farmer whose life is shattered when Union soldiers, known as Redlegs, massacre his family and burn his home during the Civil War. Consumed by grief and rage, he joins a band of Confederate guerrilla fighters, waging a relentless war against those responsible for his suffering. But when the war ends and his fellow fighters surrender, Josey refuses to lay down his weapons, becoming an outlaw with a price on his head. As he journeys across the untamed frontier, Josey encounters outcasts and misfits, including an elderly Cherokee chief, George, and a struggling settler, Locke, forming an unlikely surrogate family along the way. While his path is driven by revenge, these encounters slowly force him to confront his own humanity, questioning whether the cycle of violence can ever truly end. With its haunting atmosphere, sharp dialogue, and Eastwood's commanding performance, The Outlaw Josey Wales is more than just a revenge tale. It is a meditation on loss, survival, and the search for something worth living for in a world defined by brutality. The film challenges traditional Western tropes, making it one of the most thought-provoking and enduring films of the genre. Number 8, Dirty Harry, 1971. Directed by Don Siegel, Dirty Harry, 1971, is a hard-hitting neo-noir action thriller that helped redefine the crime genre. Starring Clint Eastwood, Andy Robinson, Harry Guardino, and Rennie Santoni, the film blends relentless action with sharp social commentary, introducing audiences to one of cinema's most iconic anti-heroes, Inspector Harry Callahan. A no-nonsense San Francisco cop with an uncompromising sense of justice, Callahan is assigned to track down the Scorpio Killer, a sadistic sniper terrorizing the city. When Callahan finally captures the murderer, he uses whatever means necessary to extract a confession, only to see the killer walk free due to legal technicalities. Frustrated by a system that seems to protect criminals over victims, Harry takes it upon himself to ensure that justice is served. As the Scorpio Killer escalates his reign of terror, hijacking a school bus full of children, Harry is faced with one final, brutal showdown to end the madness. Eastwood's performance cemented Dirty Harry as a cultural icon, a tough, fearless enforcer who operates outside the rules when the law fails to deliver justice. The film's gritty realism, tense pacing, and moral ambiguity sparked debates about law enforcement, personal responsibility, and the fine line between heroism and vigilantism. With its unforgettable one-liners, including the legendary "Do you feel lucky, punk?", Dirty Harry remains a cornerstone of action cinema and a defining moment in Eastwood's career. Number 9, Escape from Alcatraz, 1979. Directed by Don Siegel, Escape from Alcatraz, 1979, is a tense and meticulously crafted prison thriller starring Clint Eastwood and Patrick McGoohan, based on the true story of the only known escape attempt from the infamous Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary. The film masterfully captures the suffocating isolation and relentless tension of life inside the maximum security prison. Eastwood portrays Frank Morris, a highly intelligent and resourceful inmate who, upon arriving at Alcatraz, quickly realizes that escape is nearly impossible. However, after studying the weaknesses of the prison, he devises an elaborate plan and recruits 2 fellow inmates, the Anglin brothers, to execute what could be the most daring prison break. As they carve out their escape route, digging through walls, crafting lifelike dummy heads, and plotting every detail with precision, the risk of discovery looms over them at every turn. Meanwhile, the prison's ruthless warden, McGoohan, remains ever watchful, determined to crush any signs of rebellion. The film's claustrophobic atmosphere and methodical pacing heighten the suspense, making every small breakthrough feel like a victory and every setback a potential disaster. Escape from Alcatraz is not just a prison break movie. It's a gripping study of perseverance, intelligence, and the indomitable human will to be free. Eastwood's understated yet commanding performance reinforces the film's quiet intensity, leaving audiences questioning whether the escapees truly made it or if the icy waters of San Francisco Bay swallowed them whole. Number 10, The Bridges of Madison County, 1995. Directed by Clint Eastwood and starring himself alongside Meryl Streep, The Bridges of Madison County, 1995, is a deeply emotional romantic drama that explores love, longing, and the weight of choices. Adapted from Robert James Waller's best-selling novel, the film takes its time unraveling a love story that is both fleeting and eternal, filled with bittersweet beauty and heartbreak. Set in 1965, the story follows Francesca Johnson Streep, an Italian war bride living a quiet, predictable life as a housewife in rural Iowa. When her husband and children leave for a trip, she unexpectedly crosses paths with Robert Kincaid Eastwood, a National Geographic photographer who arrives in town to document the area's covered bridges. What begins as a simple meeting soon evolves into an intense, soul-stirring affair that forces Francesca to confront the life she has built and the love she never knew she could have. Unlike many romance films, The Bridges of Madison County doesn't rely on grand gestures or sweeping declarations. Instead, it focuses on quiet moments, the unspoken emotions, stolen glances, and the ache of knowing that true love does not always lead to a shared future. Streep delivers a masterful performance, capturing the internal conflict of a woman torn between duty and desire, while Eastwood brings a gentle yet profound presence to the role of Robert. With its thoughtful pacing and emotionally resonant storytelling, the film reaches a conclusion that is as painful as it is inevitable, leaving a lasting impression on those who have ever wondered about the roads not taken. It is not just a love story, it is a meditation on the choices that shape our lives and the rare, unforgettable connections that change us forever. And that's our list of the top 10 Clint Eastwood movies. Do you agree with our ranking, or do you think we missed a classic? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more top movie rankings. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.